Hey homies, welcome to How to Homesteading. We're here with you this morning on this impromptu video to talk about grape worm. We are concerned that one of our chickens might have grape worm, even though we do preventative measures. So I'm going to show you guys how we do our deworming medicine with our chickens, and I'll also share with you our preventative measures that we do with our chickens so that they hopefully don't get grape worm.
So they don't get grape worm!
Okay guys, so in all seriousness, grape worm is not a fun thing to deal with. We had a chicken earlier this year die from grape worm, and it's not a fun death. They gasped for air. We couldn't get it to a vet in time or anything like that, and we didn't know what grape worm was, so I learned a lot about grape worm from there. Here's the girls this morning. They're coming out to get their water. I'm going to show you guys how we put the medicine in the water. So here's the water. We usually use 2 different waters, but when you're dealing with grape worm, you want to give them just a single water source so you can put the medicine in it. So we just use this. So yeah, grape worm is a nasty thing. It actually, they get in their tracheas and they breed, and they basically can clog up their tracheas, the worms, and cause them to suffocate. So it's a little bit different than other worms, like if you were like intestinal parasites or something like that. So yeah, grape worm is a little bit different in the sense that it's not in the intestines or anything like that. So the way that you can identify grape worm, the best way is that if you look down their throats, you can actually see they're like little red worms that have a little split Y at the end, like a little tail. And I think they're like really small. I think they're only like 2 or 3 centimeters or something. So you can usually see that if it's a little farther progressed. The other way you can identify it is a couple signs from the chickens. So if you watch your chickens, you can, the biggest sign is if you ever see them like gaping or kind of like craning their neck and gasping for air. That's a real good bad sign, I guess, that they would have grape worm. Another early sign is them kind of like shaking their heads. The only problem with that is chickens do that a lot to also just fix their crowns. So don't use that as a primary indicator of grape worm, but if you happen to see a chicken maybe doing it more often than they usually do, then try and watch that chicken a little more, see if you see them gasping or sneezing or anything like that. Also, lack of eating, lack of drinking. If they're just lethargic, you know, they seem like they're sick or something like that, that can be another sign of grape worm. But if you don't see the other signs along with it, then it might be something else. The medicine that we're going to put in the water later actually treats all worms, so, or I think most worms, so you're kind of good if you use that medicine, depending on what worm it has, but I think the difference can be the amount of days that you give it, not the dosage, but just the amount of days. So there's a protocol for, I think, certain worms, like intestinal worms, you would give it for 5 days instead of 3 days. So again, if you can't identify what it is, you could just go with the longest regimen, the longest protocol, and then presumably you would be good at that point with any type of worm or anything like that, if that's what you think it is. So this is what we use. It's liquid. It's actually for goats, but it's the fenbendazole is what you want. I just have a little syringe that I dispense it with, you'll see in a sec. This is for goats, but you can get, there's ones that are specifically for chickens. They're a little bit more expensive. There's ones that are in powder form and paste form, like Panicure, stuff like that. Just got off Amazon and it works for chickens. So I'm going to show you guys the dose that we use because there's a lot of different information when you look online about the dosage. So I'm going to show you what we use and what's worked for us. Alright, here we are, guys. I'm going to show you how I put it in the water. And when you're doing the medicine, you're going to want to change your water every day. I mean, Ideally, you want to change your water every day for your chickens anyways, fresh water, but when you're deworming them, you definitely want to give them fresh water every day. So try to do it in the morning. We're doing it in the morning here. It's only 7:30. Don't usually record this early, but I wanted to show you guys this video. Clean off a little bit. All right, so you're gonna want to shake this because this separates. So give it a good shake. All right, and then you want to do 3 milliliters or cc's if you're using a syringe, but if you're not, 3 milliliters of liquid per gallon of water. All right, so I'm going to put 2 gallons of water in here, so I'm going to do 6 milliliters of medicine. So 6 milliliters, roughly, stripping. So, all right. And you'll find a lot of different information on this. If you were to look this up online on dosing, a lot of people have a lot of different dosages for chickens, but it's generally going to be between 2 and 3 milliliters, or 2 to 5 milliliters really per gallon of water. 5's getting kind of high. Don't be afraid. If you keep it around 2 to 3 milliliters, don't go higher than that, then you'll be fine per gallon of water. And you're going to want to deworm for 3 days. Again, if you look up stuff online, some people will say different stuff. Some people will say 5 days. Some people will say more, you know. So it just depends. But what we've done is 3 days, and then you give them, then you do it again in 3 months. So you deworm for 3 days, and then you do it again in 3 months. All right, guys. Grape worm, like we said, is not it's not a fun thing. It's really hard to get rid of. They can actually live for up to 4 years in chicken's feces and in like the soil of your chicken coop. So that's a long time basically, and that's why I'm being cautious with these chickens now, because we had that chicken who had the grape worm that died from it earlier in the year, and that was a young chicken. We had just gotten it. I guess it had not been dewormed or whatnot. So anyways, that was only like 6 months ago, so we can definitely still have grape worm in our soil, stuff like that. So I'm just being real cautious with these chickens, because these are our older chickens that we've had for a while, and we really like them. And not that we didn't like the other one, but just, you know, we're just being more cautious with them. So we're doing this, and we've done a lot of preventative things. Some things you can do to preventative things specifically for grape worm would be to like till your soil or turn over your soil in your coop area. If you have the ability to rotate your coops, or if you have the ability to like section off an area, that's good too. You can rotate your coop areas. We don't have that ability here, but you know, if you do, that's good. You know, clean water, raking out your coop area, stuff like that all helps. Some things you can do for just worms in general, some you can do really good is put apple cider vinegar in their water. So you don't want to do that when you're doing the medicine, but when you're just giving them water regularly, if you just put a splash of apple cider vinegar in their water, that can help with intestinal parasites in their stomach. Another thing you can do is give them pumpkin seeds as treats. The shell of the pumpkin seed actually scrapes out their intestines and their stomach and stuff like that, so it can scrape out worms. So those are 2 really good things you can do. So yeah, guys, again, make sure this is their only water source. Try to take away any other water source they have, just so you make sure they drink this water. And you want to treat the whole flock, even if you just see 1 or 2, or even just 1, even if you just see little signs, you want to treat the whole flock, just to be careful. So they're getting at it, good girls. And in terms of not eating the eggs, if the you know, that medicine can get in the eggs, again, if you look that up, you'll find differing opinions. What we've done in the past is we've done the rule of 3s. So we treat for 3 days, we wait 3 months, we treat for another 3 days, And in terms of not eating the eggs, we wait 3 days after our last treatment on the 3rd day to eat the eggs. So after your last day of treatment, if you wait 3 days, that's what we do. Some people say to wait longer, some people say not to wait at all. I've read studies that say most excess medicine comes out in the feces of the chicken and not in the egg. So again, you guys can do your own research and make your own decision. And here's the little ones. Figure out what you want to do, but we wait 3 days to eat the eggs. So unfortunately, during that time, we just have to throw the eggs away or compost them. And actually, the crows love them, so they get a little feast. So that sucks, but you know, it's better than having a dead chicken. All right, I'm just gonna take out our broody hen real quick. He needs to come out for the morning. You gotta come out, girl. Alright, good ones. There you go. Alright guys, so that's it for this impromptu video on grape worm. If you have any questions or anything like that on how to identify grape worm, how to treat it, you know, treatments, you can put a comment below and I'll try to help out. Thanks for watching. I'm Rob at High Altitude Homesteading. You guys have a good day.